Hey y'all, welcome to Conversations with Pela. We're just going to jump right into it. Um, I try my best to not be overly obsessed with any one situation, any one specific given, but there are some things that kind of hold me, and I just have to decide whether or not I'm going to talk about it or not. Like, for example, right now, everything happening with Jay-Z, with Rock Nation, the way that people are reacting to Jay-Z releasing his 30-year anniversary album only at Target, the Target boycott, the feeling that Jay-Z undercuts the black community's desire to boycott things or to protest things in whatever way they want to, because he did the same thing with the Colin Kaepernick. I'm leaving it alone because there's just so much, and I could really talk about it every single day. I think it's just interesting because I always look at people's level of influence. I don't necessarily have an opinion. I do have an opinion, but in the situations where I feel like my opinion is very much my own and not necessarily somebody else's, I don't need anybody to adapt or adopt my opinion, which generally speaking, I never need anybody to agree with me. I'm going to agree with me. And I don't share those opinions, right? But I will look at a situation and say, hey, what is this really? Like, what are we experiencing? And are we experiencing the same thing in any other arena of life? So, with all that said, I am not trying to be super obsessive about this whole Ryan Clark ESPN thing, but there's so many moving pieces. Um, the last time I talked about this, I hadn't seen anything come out of the camp of Cam Newton, but I guess he actually said something pretty early when he found out about his layoff. He seemed like he was very grateful and he was kind of okay with what was happening. And if he wasn't, he certainly played it off like he was okay. I know he wasn't with ESPN for a very long time, maybe a year. Um, and he brought up that he felt like this was an internship. It was like the greatest education into something. And I understand that feeling. I understand working in an area that you are not 100% familiar with and just learning the game because the game has so many parts, right? It's one thing to be an on air talent, it's another thing to be able to research because some on air talent doesn't require you to know a whole lot, right? But other things, once you become an analyst, once you become a commentator, which could be considered the same thing, you're going to have to look at things on a daily basis. You're not going to be able to miss a news cycle because if you do, somebody else is going to be on the cutting edge of that story and it won't be you. And part of what is the draw for people in positions that are analysts is that they see things in real time and they can say this is what I think it is, and then people are attracted to that opinion or not, and creates conversation and discourse, but it creates interest, it creates draw. So when Cam says that, this essentially was like an internship, he's grateful for the time, he's learned so much, I really believe him. um, if he's disappointed at all, he really did hide it well. And on top of that, he still does have Funky Fridays. Cam Newton is one of those people. He's already built that personal brand, and it's strong enough. And even though sometimes I go with him, that doesn't make him not successful. That's my favorite thing about having an opinion. My opinion does not make somebody successful or not successful. Anywho, um, I still don't know a lot coming out of the Ryan Clark uh, arena, and I guess he'll say something when he wants to say something. But the person who I caught him on his own stuff on Tuesday is Stephen A. Smith. And Stephen A. Smith, he's a hard one for me because the man is consistent, but consistently aggravating. And that's not to say not talented. He's just consistently aggravating. You I don't think that he is. Well, I'm not going to say that because that was really not going to be nice. Here's what I know. Stephen A. seems very committed to getting the bag, his bag, and he will not let anybody stand in the way of that bag, even if he has to always be having hot takes and unpopular opinions and doing whatever. I honestly don't feel like um, the aggravating side of Stephen A is what makes Stephen A successful. I think he's actually just good at being an analyst, and he's good at understanding sports, even if people don't agree with him on everything. He's good at that. He's good at putting ideas together and putting them out there. So when he's aggravating, people then are like, "Why are you like this?" But he's consistently aggravating. So to me, I'm just like, that's he's being the Stephen A that he believes that he is. We are not seeing a mask. With that said, I did see him on Tuesday, and please note that it's Friday and I didn't say anything about it. But he got on his platform and he almost eulogized Ryan Clark. He was not happy with the termination of Ryan Clark, and understandably so. He is very close to that man. They are, from his own words, very much like brothers. I get it. And I appreciated the way that he talked about Ryan, uh, in terms of the job that Ryan was doing, but also in terms of their relationship. Um, because I know from other things that he's done that he's being very genuine about the way he feels about this man. The thing that killed me was the one line where Mr. Stephen A said, uh, any network would be a fool to not gobble him up. I almost just want to be like, you are in, you are in pop culture every single day, Mr. Stephen A. Why would you say it like that? Why would you say gobble him up? Say it a different way. And honestly, that's my only qualm. I had no other problems with the way that Stephen A presented on that one. I have plenty of problems with the way he presents on a lot of other things, but not with the way that he expressed his feelings about Ryan Clark. The thing that really like caught me though was that Stephen A said, I'll disagree with my employers, but what you're not going to get me to do is, what did he say? Is to insult insult my employers. And then other people analyzing what Stephen A said, people who have very large platforms, who are very, very much paid by corporate America. And I don't mean paid like 150,000 a year. I'm talking millions a year, Um, they all said, yeah, but I get it. Um, Sometimes layoffs happen. Business is business. And I realize again that when so much of what you get, when such a large percentage of what you receive for your, for your output, is in the hands of a corporation, it's scary. That's why all of these very well paid, um, I would say, personalities or celebrities even would say business is business, because you understand on that level that the company doesn't owe you loyalty. They are loyal to their bottom line. I always think it's dangerous to feel like a company owes you more than the transaction of they've given you a good workplace and a paycheck, and in return you work and earn that paycheck. That is as much as the relationship needs to be. Now if it goes above and beyond that, and it in a positive way, I'm all for it. I'm all for it, and I will support it, and I will help build that foundation. But to believe that a company, especially the more and more a company grows, to believe that they are going to think of you the way they think of themselves is foolish. And I can see it in all of these people who are making big money, where they understand, hey, I could lose this at any time. I'm not guaranteed any of this, which is why they say, I get it, business is business. But most of those people that I've seen who say, I get it, business is business, also have their own thing on the side. And I think their own thing like they've taken their money and they have diversified how they are investing it, whether they invest it into their own company or into whatever they do, they are making their money grow on its own so that they are not a billion% dependent on the corporation. I think that that's just a mindset that everybody should move into. I was reading something the other day, and one of the things I thought was really cool is that in the beginning, in the beginning, right? That's the way the Bible starts. In the beginning, everybody was an entrepreneur. Everybody. Everybody created goods. Everybody created something that they could trade for something else. And then come up to where we are now, we have we have so many corporations. It did allow people to get richer faster because it's not just you producing and trying to then get something for what you by yourself produced, but you are paid for labor, and it doesn't even matter. The point is, there was a time where everybody on some level had to be an entrepreneur. And I kind of feel like the safest thing that anyone can do, and I don't mean rely fully on yourself because we live in an ecosystem, but it is to have a little bit of autonomy. It is to have a little bit of something that is just yours and no one else's. Something, I mean, and nurture it and grow it however you want to, but it takes the pressure off of you and your relationship to your corporate masters, essentially. Create something that is just yours, that is just yours. And even though you now have to do the work of keeping that thing alive, sometimes keeping that thing alive is more fulfilling than dying a little bit every day as you go back to corporate America or corporate wherever you are. Because I've got cousins who are nice enough to watch from New Zealand and Australia. God bless you. That might be my only thought for Friday. So going into this weekend, think about what that means to you, or don't. It's your call. Either way,